All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Houston Rockets Daily. We got Let's Talk Rockets episode number 48 here, live in Southwest Florida. The Houston Rockets with a statement victory yesterday in the NBA play-in tournament. This team is special right now, man. It really just feels special. They are now 8-6 on the season, thanks to yesterday's home victory. They've won 8 straight home basketball games. I believe that's the first time since 2010. Their one home loss on the season was, I believe, the third game of the season opener against the Golden State Warriors. But they've beaten the defending champions now in the Denver Nuggets twice. And they're going to play them again this upcoming Wednesday. Now, we've got a big road stretch here. Dallas on Tuesday, so no Rockets basketball for another long time. It feels like we keep having to wait a very long time for these basketball games. You got Dallas next Tuesday, back to back actually, because Wednesday night you play Denver on the road. Then that Saturday at Los Angeles Lakers. So big 3-game road stretch against some really solid teams here. But man, there are some things I absolutely love about the Houston Rockets right now. First things first, this defense is special. Defensive rating wise, they are third in the NBA. It's just a night and day difference as opposed to last season and just the Salas era in general. It's honestly different even than the Harden era because this defense is just that freaking good. Ime Udoka has made an immediate impact on this team. No overreactions after the first 3 games when they lost all 3 of them. Take some time for these guys to get into sync and get that chemistry going. I think a really good example was honestly just last night's game in general. Fred VanVleet and Jalen Green's connection. I saw some. Sorry, throwing a little zinny there. I saw, some people getting upset at Fred not alley-ooping, not lobbing Jalen Green enough. And, we just have to keep in mind that, these guys have never played basketball together. And that's just something that's going to take a little bit of time. I think yesterday was a huge example of that. So they're third in defensive rating. And another thing I absolutely love about this team, and you can tell because of their third best defense in the league, and this statistic that coaching matters and coaching matters a lot. They are third in the league in turnovers. That's just a great statistic. So welcome back to the channel here. Hope you guys all had a great Thanksgiving. Hit that like button, hit that sub button if you haven't already. Once again, these are Let's Talk Rockets is available on all streaming platforms. I've got the links to Spotify and Apple Podcasts down below. Thank you guys for listening, both on YouTube and on streaming platforms. I think we just hit over 200 podcast listeners, which is great because we don't really promote it. So yeah, check those links down below. And if you're listening to one of those, give it a nice 5-star rating. Would really appreciate that. Help us get over, just climb the rankings or whatever. But yeah, man, I hope you guys all had a great Thanksgiving. I know I sure did. Ate a lot of food. I think I gained like 6 pounds. So yeah, we're gonna keep it light this weekend. No Rockets basketball for a couple more days. But let's take a look. Let's throw this on the screen here for our audio listeners. I do not want to share audio, but we're going to do it anyways. Let's just dissect last night's game. 105-86. I also want to say Cam Whitmore's been absolutely feasting it. I have his statistics somewhere. Through 5 G League games, Cam Whitmore, 24.6 points, 6.4 rebounds, 4.2 assists, 1.6 steals. He's shooting 48% from the field. He's shooting 42% from downtown on over 10 threes a game. And he's only turning the ball over 2.8 times per game. So there's just, kind of the G League stuff. What's up to my man, Jared? Appreciate you. Thank you, OG, Houston Rocket Daily listener. I hope you had a great Thanksgiving as well. I got to get down to Houston soon, man. I've been thinking about it. I got to come down for a game, but I'd love to come down for a game where I got to check the schedule and see if they have like a 2-game or a back-to-back home split, so I can catch 2 in one sitting or in one trip. What's up to my OG as well, Joshua George? Hope you had a great Thanksgiving as well, man. But last night was beautiful. 29-19 after the first quarter. Now the second half, sorry, things, offense slows down a little bit. But Jalen Green and Alperen Sengun in that fourth quarter, those two guys, especially Jalen Green, had just a phenomenal game in general. They shut Nikola Jokic had 38 points, 19 rebounds, 8 assists, and they still won the basketball game, which is absolutely insane. But I think yesterday was kind of, great cohesion game for this team. I think it was just kind of a sign for things to come. Now, obviously, this Rocket squad is a lot different than Rocket starts in years prior. They're 8-6 through just about 15 games in the season, and they look really freaking good. Coaching matters. And we're seeing it in both Houston Rockets sports right now with D'Amico Ryans and Ime Udoka. Coaching matters a lot, especially for player development and player progression. We've seen Jabari hit the bench. We've seen Jalen Green hit the bench recently, and these guys come back, ready to play whenever their next opportunity is. So Ime Udoka has really just been a night and day difference since the Steven Silas era. I hate to keep saying that, but we're going to probably say it all season because it's just that big of a deal. But last night, man, Jalen Green, just a huge game. I've never really bought into the, my buddy Arjun texted me a couple of weeks ago and he was saying, is Jalen Green RJ Barrett? When are we going to have the conversation if Jalen Green's like RJ Barrett? And I don't really think that's applicable. I think Jalen Green's averaging 20 points per game on the season. And I think it's just simply because, Cade went 1, Evan Mobley went 3, and people are just going to compare it all the damn time. Jalen Green, he's barely in his 3rd season in the league. These are young players, and this stuff just takes time. And yesterday was just a great confidence, momentum booster for a young player like Jalen. And like I said, I think we're really starting to see that cohesion with point guard Freddie Van Vliet and Alperen Sengun. I love the ball movement. I love the unselfishness of this team. I cannot wait for Amen Thompson to come back healthy because I do think the Rockets could use kind of a spurt scorer player. I don't think Amen's really, going to come back from that ankle injury and be like, just a spurt scorer. That's, what the other player was kind of supposed to be. And that would have been even more perfect. But obviously things took a change in different directions. But I can't wait for Amen Thompson to come back. Getting Tari Eason back has been huge. Aaron Holiday has been amazing so far, especially recently, coming off of the bench, doing his thing, sometimes closing these games. I love this team right now. I really love this team, and these guys are smiling and they're happy and they're enjoying each other. And I don't have a team off the top of my head. Actually, I do. My Chicago Bulls. You watch a Bulls game, watch, I don't know when the Rockets play the Bulls for the first time this season, but watch that game and remember this episode here because that's just the difference between a team that genuinely likes each other and a team that just doesn't really have any chemistry and everybody's, kind of pointing fingers over in Chicago playing the blame game. That's not what you get when you watch a Rockets basketball game, even when they lose. This team wants to work. I think a lot of these young cats, Jalen Green, Alperen Sengun, Tari Eason, Jabari Smith Jr., not only are they growing as basketball players, but they're growing as people. The maturity level on this team for such a young squad. Ime Udoka, literally, biggest addition of the offseason. I'm trying to remember what big trades happened this past offseason, but I think it would be, in consideration for one of the bigger moves in the entire offseason. I can't, like I said, I can't remember it. I know there were big trades that happened, but of course I can't think of any right now. Just if anybody remember who got traded, there was somebody who got traded right before the season began, and it wasn't James Harden. Who am I thinking of? Anyways, Ime Udoka, big time move. We got 7 people here in the chat. Throw some opinions, throw some comments down there. We got that Michigan-Ohio State game. Ooh, it looks like Michigan won. Let's go. Not a big Ohio State fan. Also think Notre Dame should have beaten them earlier on in the season. So let's talk a little bit about Jabari Smith. I got a nice tweet here from Bordeaux, who does a phenomenal job, by the way, of just covering this team, especially with statistics. I love a good statistic. And Jabari Smith Jr., man, this is something, if you guys remember, around this time last season, my buddy Nick and I, we were living together at the time. We sat back, on our dining room table and just, hit record and talked about Jabari Smith Jr. He's a big Florida Gator fan, so he watches a lot of SEC basketball. He's just a big college basketball fan in general. And we were talking about Jabari's potential and what he could be in the NBA. And I think when you get selected, like I said, with Jalen being selected at 2, Jabari being selected at 3, a lot of people like to compare it, but a lot of people like to just take a look at statistics in general. Jabari did not have a great rookie season. In fact, it certainly was not good. But Jabari Smith Jr. and Alperen Sengun, defensively, offensively, I think people are starting to buy into that potential. And I know I've compared these players to Aaron Gordon and Nikola Jokic probably one too many times, but we're going to compare them once again. Aaron Gordon and Nikola Jokic, offensively, defensively, they're perfect together. And I think that's what we have with Jabari and Alperen. But Jabari has been doing a phenomenal job this rookie season, but specifically in these last 4 games. And then defensively, he's holding his opponents to just a 35.3% field goal percentage. So phenomenal two-way player. But kind of what I was getting at, the little rant I was getting at there was, I think when people think of, selected at 2, selected at 3, they want to see, 25, 5 and 5. From Jalen Green. They want to see Jabari throwing up 20 and 10 and put that in pen. Like, they want to see these crazy statistics, but we also have to keep in mind that these are, 19-year-old, 20-year-old players who, last year you kind of just have to throw everything that was taught on you out the window and reestablish, good habits. And that's exactly what we're seeing. So I think this team really complements each other so nicely. And yesterday was just a prime example of what the potential of this team is. And at the end of the day, man, defense still wins championships. I think Houston right now, first off, they're number 1 in the in-season tournament in our bracket, by the way, which is great. Of course, I'm losing my train of thought here. How do you lose your train of thought that quickly? That's insane. It's been a while. We haven't done this in about 2 weeks. For Houston Rockets Daily, man, we got to get that back on track. But people want these crazy statistics. And, when you watch these games, you can certainly see the even game-to-game improvements from some of these young players. If Jalen has a bad game, watch him the next game. He's a lot better. If Jabari has a bad game, watch him the next game. He's a lot better. Alperen Sengun himself is looking like at least a star in the league. He's looking like a lock for an all-star this season. I don't know what the most improved race or conversation is looking like 15 games into the season. As Josh was saying here, Jabari's going to be an all-star in the next few years. But Alperen Sengun on the season, 20 points, 9 rebounds, 6 assists. He's a free throw and 3-point shot away from literally just being Nikola Jokic. I mean, you can't – obviously those statistics are extremely impressive. And as, a third-year jump, he's only improved. It's still so crazy to me. At the Rockets home opener last year, I watched Bruno Fernando get the start over LB, but it is what it is. This dude's looking like a superstar in the league. And when you have players, former players, current players, coaches, when you have these types of guys with these certain pedigrees saying, yeah, man, he's a really special talent and he's a really special player and he's going to be really good, it means something. And that's all you hear about Alperen Sengun. Nobody's talking about, I think, it's broke or it's empty stats, blah, 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 blah. Even last year, like if you watched Alperen Sengun play, you're like, oh my God, yeah, that dude can certainly play. So, you run the offense through him. His defense has improved drastically. Coaching, improvement. These guys love to work. They're not afraid of the work. And that's something I absolutely love about this Rockets young squad is their work ethic. And just once again, man, Ime Udoka is just so perfect for this job. So I love it right now, man. Houston sports are in a really, really fun, exciting, promising spot right now. And I love it for CJ Stroud and the Texans. But obviously, I love it for this young Rockets team right now. Let's check the DMs. I don't think I sent myself anything else. Throw some stuff in down below. Jay Sean Tate. Hell yeah. I'm going to take it. Works for me. Let me see if I can just get a talking point looking at these statistics. Very excited for Amen Thompson to come back. Don't really feel like we need a backup big man. I don't really, we're only 15 games in. We're getting to that point where I've always said it, like I think you need about 20 games to kind of see what a team is, see what a team isn't, see their strengths, see their weaknesses. So I'm not even concerned about uh, potential moves that Houston will be making closer to the deadline. But they're seventh in the standings right now. And I think just genuinely, no matter how this season ends, as long as they're in that competition, I would really love for this team to obviously get a top 6 seed and just make the playoffs. But I would love for this team to be like the 7th or 8th seed, win that first game, head into the playoffs. Even if you lose in like 5 or 6 games in the first round of the playoffs, I think that's something that these young kids really need, because they're still trying to fight. They're still learning how to win. All right, we're still getting rid of bad habits. So a lot to be excited about, man. I think that about wraps us up today. I just wanted to talk some Rockets basketball. Dylan Brooks, love the mentality, love the edge he brings to this young team. Villain Brooks, I love it. I absolutely love Dylan Brooks on this team. I think he fits them so freaking perfectly. Freddie Double V's done a phenomenal job at facilitating, playmaking, getting the ball rolling, scoring when he needs to. Fred genuinely looks great. He's averaging 9 assists per game so far this season. Then we also have Sengun as our big man, giving me 6 assists. So I love the spacing. I love the ball movement. I've been loving Jalen Green's cuts, but I've been loving everybody's cuts. And I know I talk about this a lot on my NBA show. I watch a team like, let's say the Denver Nuggets or the Golden State Warriors play a team like the Clippers and the Suns. The offense, like Suns ISO basketball, their fourth quarter for the last year and a half, 2 years even, has just been isolation basketball, pick and roll or isolation. And that's not what you get when you watch the Rockets. You see ball movement, you see chemistry. And like we were talking earlier on in the show, like the chemistry is only going to get better. It's only up from here. Get used to a lot of those Fred to Jalen lobs, because it's going to be happening at a lot more consistent of a rate. These guys still got to learn what your teammates like, what your teammates don't like, where they want the ball, where they don't want the ball. You get what I'm saying here. It's going to be awesome. So I can't wait for this 3-game road trip. I think I'm going to try to stream one of these games here Tuesday or Wednesday, Dallas or Denver. I've been missing just live streaming recently. They've been popping up in my feed back in the WoW days, in the post James Harden era. We would live stream pretty much every Rockets game. Starting to get a lot more bodies in here. I want to keep talking Rockets and see. Throw some opinions. Throw some stuff in the chat. Let's see what else we got going on here. But like I said, I think the Rockets could definitely use a bench scorer. No double-digit scorers outside of the starting 5. Şengün's 20, Jalen's 20, Freddie's 17, Brooks is 13, Jabari's 13, and then the next highest leading scorer is Tari Eason at 6.6. I know we've only seen 4 games from Ime before he got injured, but especially with that 3-point shot that he's still working on and developing from last season, he scored 6.3 points per game. But I'm excited to get Ime back on the bench, because, like I said, I do think we could use some type of energizer bunny that's just going to get you buckets. I know that's not necessarily what Ime's going to do, because he's a great facilitator. He's a great playmaker for his teammates as well. But hopefully he comes back and he's very aggressive. But Cam Whitmore, man, 25 points per game. The dude has been absolutely killing it. We were talking about Aaron Holiday earlier. Aaron Holiday, Uncle Jeff, Jayshawn Tate, Tari Eason. I mean, they're just so great. Getting Tari Eason back has been so money. There was that offensive rebound he had and just threw it right back in. It's just plays like that. It's a coaching dream having a guy like Tari Eason, especially off of your bench. I've seen some rumblings, actually, now that I think about it, of people wanting to get him in the starting lineup. But I think Jabari, his last 4 games, has kind of, eased that. These are still very young players. And Tari Eason's just another one of those players in the Rockets' back pocket that, a lot of people aren't very familiar with. And when you play him and he clamps you up, that's when they become a little bit more familiar with them. So I think that'll wrap it up for today. We're going to get back to making a lot more videos and streaming a lot more consistently on this channel. But once again, I hope you guys all had a great Thanksgiving. As always, the links to these shows are down below. They're usually up about 30 minutes or so, give or take a couple of minutes after this ends. So thank you guys so much for watching, and we will see you next time.